The Detroit Lions will be up against it in week 3, man, trying to go 2-1 and finally conquer the Baltimore Ravens. If you guys remember back in 2021, Dan Campbell's first year, it was the Baltimore Ravens that I believe sent us down the spiral of that 3-13-1 start when we just could not win a game. We were 0-2 at the time. The Ravens were 1-1, and we got cheated out of that field goal, that Justin Tucker field goal. Should have been, instead of 66 yards, it should have been 71. But the play before that, a 4th down and infinity, he was able to complete that. And so the play should have never happened in the first place. But one thing that Dan Campbell has not been able to do, or the Lions for that matter, is beat Lamar Jackson. Now, you guys know how I feel about Lamar Jackson, and that's a conversation for a different day. But the Detroit Lions decide to kind of make a sneaky good move. Let me know if you get the reference. Coming from the Detroit Lions Twitter, says the Lions announced roster moves. They released linebacker Monty Rice from the practice squad. He was just elevated for game day, and he got himself fired because he actually had a penalty during the game that I believe led to this. They were probably going to replace him yesterday, but his penalty didn't hurt or didn't help. They placed tight end Shane Zylstra on injured reserve. That's sad because I saw Shane go down. He was down for a while, and this guy has been a stand-up dude. Got that 4th down and 1 conversion against the Jets a few years ago, and is good. A great blocking tight end. Great to have. He is on injured reserve. He's probably going to be done for a while. They actually signed offensive lineman Tristan Colon to the active roster from the practice squad. He was one of the guys that did not make the 53-man roster, was re-signed to the practice squad, and now has been signed to the active roster, which means that he is now part of the 53. In order to come back to the practice squad, he would have to be cut, clear waivers, and then be re-signed to the Detroit Lions practice squad. But here's why I brought up Lamar Jackson. The Detroit Lions signed wide receiver Malik Cunningham and tight end Ross Dwelley to the practice squad. Now, this is big news for a couple of reasons, because when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, let me see why that is doing that. All right, there we go. That's how it's supposed to be. So when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens, we have not been able to stop Lamar. The last time we played him, we sacked him a total of 0 times. As a matter of fact, he had a whopping 9.4 seconds to throw the football during that game. That was one particular play. He had 9.4 seconds. And the pass rush is not all that better. We had Hutch during that game. They come out, they absolute waxed us that year. Now, we did go to the NFC Championship that game, or that year, so that might be a good thing. But the Detroit Lions decide to bring in Malik Cunningham. Why? Because he also plays as a quarterback. And I think that this is one of those moves that you are trying to get. Not only are you trying to emulate what Lamar can do, but this guy might have a little bit of inside info. So expect for him to not be on this team next week. Teams do it all the time where they sign people for a little bit of time, and then they're because they're playing that opponent that week, and then they're no longer on the team. Now, Malik has so little regular season stats. It's literally, I think he has 1 regular season game that he played back in 2023. But here is a little bit about him. This is coming from NFL.com. He is 6 foot, 192. He actually was from Louisville, quarterback. His prospect grade, a candidate for bottom of roster or practice squad. If we continue to scroll down a little bit more, it will give his projections. He is a priority free agent. That was before, and he was not drafted in the National Football League. But what is his overview? Here's what NFL.com had to say. Says, dual threat quarterback who was much more effective as a runner than he was a passer in 2022. Cunningham's build is slighter than teams typically like at quarterback, and his accuracy is spotty. Well, fitting he was on the Ravens. He possesses premium running talent for zone read and quarterback draws, and he can turn a lack of contain into a huge play with his legs. I mean, this sounds like a Lamar clone to me. Teams will need to decide how Cunningham would fit into an offense, but his ability to make explosive plays with his legs should not be discounted. And there you go. That's why this man is on the team. There's nothing else about it. He is on this team to mimic what Lamar Jackson would do. He probably will not be on this roster this time next week. But the Detroit Lions are smart, man. I feel bad for this kid because he is not even remotely going to be on this team in the future. Maybe the Detroit Lions will. We got a couple quarterbacks that can move around. None of them are like Lamar, but we do have people that we have to worry about containing. Now, as far as the Detroit Lions are concerned, they've done a great job for the most part containing quarterbacks. Lamar is a whole different beast trying to do that, and he actually ripped us up through the air 2 years ago. He had 46 yards on the ground rushing, but when you have a lackluster pass rush, which the Detroit Lions still have, by the way, he can carve you up, even Lamar Jackson with his spotty accuracy. So, hey, look, I'm not a Lamar Jackson fan at all, and tonight I will actually be on a podcast talking about the Detroit Lions-Baltimore Ravens matchup. So that's why he's on this team. The Detroit Lions made a sneaky good move. Again, let me know if you get the reference. But we also signed something that I think is a bigger signing. We made a bigger signing, and we saw that Shane Zylstra is down on IR. So that means that the Detroit Lions have used one of their spots. I feel like he's the second person on injured reserve, I think, this season. I'm not certain. Put it in the comments below. I feel like somebody else got put on IR before him, but nonetheless, he's one of the remaining spots that we have. I don't know what the severity of his injury was or is and how long he's going to be out. But the Ross Dwelley individual, the tight end from San Diego, he's probably going to be on this team a while. Another undrafted prospect, 6'5", 240. Prospect grade is a 540. I'm assuming that's, again, bottom of roster, practice squad, maybe something like end of roster type thing. As you can see here, he was undrafted, but he was poised to go in the 7th round or a priority free agent. Here is his overview coming from Lions Syndicate. Tight end with decent route bursts who displays the ability to make the easy and difficult catch. Dwelley is a poor run blocker, well that sucks, who lacks the strength to handle the day-to-day work required from a combination tight end, so he will have to ply his trade as a pass catcher. He'll need to do a better job of asserting himself in the middle of the route to slip man coverage and create windows for his quarterback. Dwelley is a developmental prospect with some upside as a pass catcher, but his road to a roster could be bumpy. Now, I think that this guy is going to wind up being around the Detroit Lions for quite a while, very similar to Shane. And you know what's jacked up about Shane, man, is 2 years ago, not the 2024 season, but the 2023 season, I think it was 2020, it could have been 2022, but recently he was out for the year. Remember, it was a game that he had friendly fire in one of the preseason games or something like that, and the dude, one of our guys went into him and put him out essentially for the season. I think he was out for the season. So that sucks about Shane. Doesn't say he's out for the year, but that still sucks, man, because this guy has been reliable. He's like the tight end version of Tom Kennedy. But let me show you why that this guy, I think he's going to wind up sticking around. This guy actually has been in the league for quite a while. And wait till you see his stats. Here is his stats. Undrafted. He spent the first 6 years of his career with the San Francisco 49ers. Now, wait till you see this. He played 11 games in his rookie season, 16. These were the end of the 16-game seasons. He played 17 games in 2021, 12, and then all 17 with the Atlanta Falcons last year. Now, all 17 means that he took some special teams snaps. That's what that means. And he also looks like he caught one pass. At least he got one target. He got one target, one reception, one pass caught for 5 yards. But check this out. Passing. I don't know what I don't know what this means, because I don't know if this is right that he played defense. This has to be some type of typo or something like that. Let me see under passings. 0 completions. I don't know if he doesn't line up at quarterback. why would this be in here? So I'm not certain about that. Anybody knows that in the comment section below, let me know. But he is basically going to be Shane Zylstra's replacement. He's going to be on the team, on the practice squad so far, and then he'll probably be elevated for game day. I expect that to happen. I expect him to be elevated, but just like Shane was a special teamer. He was making tackles out there. He played special teams a ton, came in. Now, the poor part, and this was many, many years ago, that he was a bad blocker. So hopefully his blocking has developed a little better. The Lions had to see something in him if they decided to bring him in and look to him to not only get some snaps, he's going to be on special teams. I fully expect him to be elevated this Sunday when we play the Baltimore Ravens, because that only leaves Sam Laporta and then Brock Wright on the roster, right, for the tight end. So we're going to bring him up. Sucks for Shane, but I really believe that Monty, I think he was cut. I think he was cut because of, I think if you have a penalty, even though the Lions blew out the Chicago Bears, you have to be disciplined. And I think one of the reasons he was cut, maybe if Shane doesn't get hurt, then Monty's still on the team. But if we had to let you go, man. And this guy, like, he was elevated right away. So it was a real good chance that he could have stuck around for a while. But sucks for Shane, sucks for Monty. But we knew that you can't do that. You can't do that. So again, if you are elevated, if you have a game day elevation from the practice squad, that is one of your 3 per year pre-waived, right? So you have 3 times to be elevated to the active roster during game day. Then you have to clear waivers, and then you can come back to the Detroit Lions practice squad or any other practice squad you decide to go. You can be re-signed. Now, after that 3rd time, you have to be elevated to the 53-man roster or go through waivers. Like you can't come in elevated permanently. So, but once you get elevated, you cannot be demoted. You have to go through waivers and then come back. So that's why it's a song and dance, man, that you have to play when it comes to who you elevate, who do you sign, like Tristan. So now Tristan, because of his elevation, in order to revert back to the practice squad, he has to now clear waivers to get back. So yeah, that's how that works. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Do you think it matters? Do you think that the penalty mattered for Monty? I think it might not have been a make or break, but when they went to pick somebody to be waived, they were like, man, we got to let you go. We got to let you go. Because he was actually elevated. He wasn't signed. But we did sign someone permanently. We elevated somebody to the active roster permanently last week. I can't remember who it was, but let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. This channel is made possible by viewers, subscribers, and members just like you. It's because of your support I get to do what I do. You could be anywhere else on YouTube, but you choose to rock with me. You guys are awesome. Take care of yourself and each other. And as always, go Lions.